What's up, fanatics? We needed fireworks, Eric, for today. It's 4th of July, and you're looking at two boring gentlemen on the screen.
Yeah, I'll probably doze off later, and then the fireworks will wake me up.
There you go. So anyway, so I said to Eric off air, I don't know, this might be a little bit shorter this week. We've hit that point in the summer where there's not a lot of new news coming out in either college or professional football. So we're going to do this. And Eric, heads up, next week we'll talk announcers, who are some of our favorite announcers are then and now, because you and I can go kind of way back to some of the greats back in the day. So we'll do a little stuff with announcing next week. But anyway, college football, I did want to bring this up with you. I saw that Penn State lost out on a receiver to, of all places, Virginia Tech. Brent Pry got the kid, and I heard Penn State people saying, "Well, it couldn't have been NIL, because surely Penn State would have more NIL money than Virginia Tech." This might have been a kid. I think he was a Virginia kid,
right?
But I want to get your take on this, because as a USC fan, I think USC is having the same problem with defensive players, especially on the line. Until they prove that they're going to be a legitimate defense, I still think kids are hesitant to come to USC that are on the defensive line. Do you feel that way about Penn State with the receiver position?
I mean, certainly that's got something to do with it. These kids are looking, hey, what's going to get me the best shot at getting in the NFL?
Yeah.
And, I agree. You're losing out to Virginia Tech's a little bit strange, but he is, like you said, from Virginia.
Yeah.
So, and he could probably walk on right there and start as a freshman, although he could probably do it at Penn State too. But
that's it. That's kind of my point. Like, I think some of these kids, now the kid from California is going to come, but I think when your position has been weak for a couple of years, and like I said, same thing with USC on the defensive front, I think high school kids are a little hesitant unless you can throw a big enough bag of money at them.
Right.
I think they look at that and say, let me see. In Penn State's case, maybe it's let me see what this new offensive coordinator does with the receiver position, and then reevaluate some of that stuff. And then they lost another kid to Virginia Tech, Eric. I thought maybe Joe Paterno had been resurrected. He's going to Virginia Tech as a quarterback. Penn State wanted them to come to Penn State as a tight end.
There you go.
That sounds like vintage Joe.
Exactly.
Making a fullback.
Well, he probably had a better shot at Penn State making the pros as a tight end, because they've turned out some decent tight ends lately.
That's true, yeah. But I thought that was funny.
Yeah. And it just, who knows anymore about where these, recruiting. Recruiting is just, I don't know what to think of it anymore.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I did see LeVar Arrington's kid is going to Penn State.
Oh, well, thank God. I wonder if his ego will fit in the door like LeVar's did.
He committed to Penn State. He's from California.
Okay.
So, yeah. So we'll see
if
he's done too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's you kind of have to get those legacy players, and it doesn't always happen. I know USC's lost a couple kids like that. That's their dad played at USC, but I think you hate to lose those legacy kids, especially if they're good players.
Yeah.
The other thing, did you think we would see? We knew it was coming. I mean, it's been a done deal now for months, but they officially shut the lights out on the Pac-12 the other day, the end of June 30th. The Pac-12 network, someone had their tape going. The Pac-12 network had a little message up there, and then it just went blue. And that was it. And no more Pac-12. I don't know. We were little kids when the Southwest Conference went kaput. I don't know. Did you see this ever coming in our lifetime, where we would lose the biggest conference on the West Coast?
It's no. I mean, and put a football aside, just basketball. It's sad for basketball. I mean,
yes.
They may not. I mean, the Pac-12 may not have been great at football, but they're certainly no slouch. But I think they're known for basketball, and they have some of the best basketball teams around. And it's sad for that because there were some good matchups. Now, for us, we had to stay up late at night to watch them.
Yeah.
And we had, with the passing of Bill Walton, we don't get to hear him anymore, which is sad.
Right.
But no, it's stunning that the Pac-12 conference is no longer.
Yeah, I mean, they made it official June 30th. And Eric, it was weird. I went on we're going to do stuff with Mascots here in a minute. So I went on to ESPN's page, and they now have their conferences updated. It is so bizarre to look at these conferences, even though we all knew it, but to see it in black and white, all those teams in the Big Ten and the Big 12, my God, I need a scorecard. I can't remember all those teams that went to the Big 12.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how anyone's going to keep this, keep it in what's going on. Nobody knows.
So, but anyway, so that was it. Poor Oregon State and Washington State are kind of floating about independent this year. Probably going to end up in the Mountain West, I would think.
Well,
but
actually, I did see about Utah named the replacement for Kyle Whittingham, which
the defensive coordinator. Yeah,
I don't know why schools do that.
Well, explain. Go ahead and explain what your.
Well, what they named his defensive coordinator as a coach in waiting,
Morgan Scally or whatever.
And I think Kyle Whittingham's one of the better coaches in college football. And I guess he's what now, in his mid-60s, so they're trying to work out a plan.
Yeah.
But this just doesn't ever, to me, seem to work out very well for the school or the coaches.
I won't argue that at all. I think their thought is the last 2 years, Scally has been on everyone's radar that needed a coach. Okay. And he turned down a couple schools. I think he did take a couple interviews, if I remember correctly. So maybe this is Utah saying, hey, we really like this guy. Yeah. We want to keep him in the fold. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
But, they did. I saw that as well. So, we'll see. Whittingham might getting into Big 12. I mean, if he keeps his team the way it was, I would think they're going to be in the upper echelon of the Big 12. Yeah. So, he might say, hey, I have a chance to win some championships here.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's a good coach, and year in and year out, he's proven it. So I'm anxious to see what he can do in in the Big 12.
Yeah, I would argue, Eric, he was the best coach in the Pac-12 the last handful of years.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we're going to talk Mascots. I always say one of the things the reason I like college sports is all the fanfare and all the pomp and circumstance and the fun around it, from tailgating, if you go to the games, the fight songs and bands, the uniforms, and the emblems on the helmets, and then the mascots. Professional sports, some of them do, and not like when the Steelers put that Stealing McBeam guy out there, Steeler fans had a fit. Yes. Because there's no mascots in pro sports. That's ridiculous.
Right.
So I always loved the mascots, and it's growing up as a kid. Like that was one of the things that always attracted me to teams and stuff, is to see what their mascot was. So you and I are going to rank what we think by conference. And before we're going to do the 4 power conferences, but a shout out to our armed services. I think all 3 of them have fantastic mascots. Air Force has the Falcon.
Yeah.
The Black Knight for Army, and the Goat for Navy. Do you know why they're a goat?
I do not.
Okay. I should always have my iPad ready. I have the story for you. Colby Chester, the commander of the midshipmen from 1891 to 1894, was fond of goats and recruited a ship's goat known as El Cid to serve as the mascot for the 1893 game between Army and Navy. And it stuck, and the goat was there ever since.
Oh, there you go. I did not know that. So
I didn't either. And I was like, I like that goat, but what on earth does the goat have to do with the Navy?
Right.
And so I looked it up today, and that was the story. So always some neat stories behind this stuff. All right. Let's start in the ACC, Eric. and I know you said you kind of ranked yours a little bit differently. When I looked at the ACC, I had a hard time. I like almost every mascot that's in the ACC right now. Let me pull it up here.
All right.
So I narrowed mine down to the top three, but Seminoles and Wolfpack, the Ram for the Tar Heels, the Pitt Panther. I mean, I like all those. So my top three in the ACC, Miami Hurricane come in at number 3 with their Ibis, which I think his name is Ibis.
It is.
Okay. My number 2 is the Yellow Jacket from Georgia Tech. And my number 1, and I doubt that anyone else will agree with this other than people from that school, there's something about the guy in the orange suit, the Syracuse Orangeman.
Yes.
I like that orange just popping around the field. So those are my top 3 with an honorable mention to the Demon Deacon from Wake Forest.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like it's Otto the Orange, by the way.
Okay. So you got names for me. Excellent.
Yeah. So, but that's a good one. Ibis from Miami. As you know, I have many Virginia Tech fans, the Hokies.
Yeah. I like the Hokie. Yeah.
The Hokie. My friend I work with, her license plate is HK Bird, Hokie Bird.
So what is a Hokie Bird?
Well, don't ask me that.
Okay. I was going to say, what's it close to? I never could figure that out.
I don't know that it's close to anything, but they love it. And, and that's the thing. All schools love their mascot.
Exactly.
And, they grow up loving it, and their kids grow up loving it no matter who it is. So it's kind of fun that way.
Yep.
You didn't mention Duke.
I like the Blue Devil. I like the Blue Devil as a mascot. No, Eric, I had trouble because the Cal Golden Bears, Stanford with the tree is interesting. I'll put it that way.
Yes.
The 2 new additions to the ACC. The Cavalier, I like the Cavalier guy in Virginia. The Mustangs in SMU, another one of the new teams.
Don't forget Florida State.
Cardinals. It has to be the angry Cardinal.
Okay.
But
Florida State.
Yeah, the Seminole, yes.
Yeah. So
100%.
So
I like them all, Eric. Honestly, I had trouble picking 3.
Well, believe me, anyone who knows you knows mascots and stuffed animals just like this. Yes. You probably have more of them in your house than anyone will ever watch this podcast.
That is correct. And I want everyone to know I actually have a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket that I won out of a Crane game one time.
You won probably 80% of them at a fair somewhere.
So absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I have a Yellow Jacket. I should have brought it on air.
And you may when you make your beach trip this year, you may come back with more.
There's a very good chance that will happen. Yes. I am addicted to games of chance. All right. What about your Big 12?
All right.
Which, like I said, I have to pull that up. I can't remember all the teams anymore.
It's really hard.
I went. I have a tie for 3rd.
Okay.
I like the Arizona State Sun Devil. And I had him in a tie with the West Virginia Mountaineer. Eric, I don't know if there is a mascot in the country that more epitomizes the state and school that they represent than that guy that shoots his gun off. I have Texas Tech Red Raiders as my number 2, and whatever the hell a horned frog is my number 1 mascot in the Big 12 from TCU.
Well, we also now BYU has Cosmo the Cougar.
Yeah, I like the Cougar.
Yeah, but back to West Virginia, and the fans just go crazy, and they're playing John Denver, "Take Me Home, Country Roads," and he's out there shooting his musket. So yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
I'll tell you, you didn't mention it either. Ralphie, the Buffalo from Colorado.
Colorado, yes. And Texas with the the Longhorn Bevo.
He's not in the Big 12 anymore, Eric.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, we'll get to Bevo in a minute.
See, I can't. Yeah,
he has left town. Eric, what the hell is a Ute? To quote Fred Gwynn from the movie,
yes.
Did you say Ute?
Yes.
What the hell is a Ute?
Yeah. I mean, I know.
Damned if I know. I followed them in the Pac-12 all those years. I still don't know.
And yeah, and most fans probably don't know either. But
no.
And Oklahoma State. What do they have? I
like that cowboy. He wears the big hat.
Pistol Pete.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah. It looks like a cartoon guy.
Yeah.
What is so Iowa State? I should look that up. The Cyclones. Let me look that up real quick. Because I don't know. Oh, it's a bird. What the hell?
Cy the Cardinal.
So,
I don't.
Do you have no backstory on this?
I don't. I just know it's Cy the Cardinal.
Okay, here it is. I got the story. Because a cyclone was difficult to depict in costume, a cardinal was selected from the cardinal and gold of the official school colors. A cardinal-like bird was introduced in 1954 at a homecoming pep rally as the mascot.
Right. That's just
there you go.
That's dumb and stupid and okay.
Correct. Yeah, no doubt. That is idiotic. All right, let's get to the SEC. So then you can get your Bevo in here. I did not have him in my top 3. He was just on the outside looking in. I went number 3, and again, you're hitting me with names here. I don't know if this guy has a name. The Bulldog from Georgia.
Uga.
Oh yeah, Uga. I did know that. Yeah, I did know that one. Is it Gary the Gator from Florida? What's his name?
Yeah, that I don't know. I'm not going to know that one.
But I love when they do the chomp thing, or when the opposing team taunts them with the chop or the chomp. And then my number 1 is the Razorbacks. If for no other reason than those numbskulls down at Arkansas put that hat on, that and then they do the pig call.
Yes.
You've got to drink a lot of beer, in my opinion, to put that hat on and do a pig call.
Yeah, exactly. And you left out the tiger from LSU, the live animal.
Yeah, that's true.
Which seems somewhat, not like a good idea, but that's what they have.
Does Missouri have a live tiger? I don't know if they have one or not.
I don't know about that. I don't think they do.
I'll tell you one that almost made my list was the Volunteers because they have that Smokey, the little dog.
Yeah. I had him on my list somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. To be honest.
Anyone else in there? Well, the Crimson Tide, everyone always.
There's South Carolina, Cocky the Gamecock.
The Gamecock, yep.
Yeah, who they named Cocky. So you kind of got to like that.
Well, okay, did you get a name on the Mississippi Rebel? Because I think he has a name. But I can't think of it.
Ole Miss has Troy the Land Shark.
Oh, that's right. But I thought the Rebel guy had a name too, or aren't they allowed to use him anymore?
Yeah, but you know what? They probably aren't.
That might be faux pas at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Land Shark. I forgot about that. Because don't they play for the Land Shark Trophy? No, that's the Egg Bowl.
That's the Egg Bowl, yeah.
With Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of interest. You're bringing up some good ones there. Because it's mostly like Tigers, Wildcats, Bulldogs.
Well, and Alabama has what? An elephant.
Well, and I like him. But I have no idea what that has to do with Crimson Tide.
I don't know.
So
that's Big Al, by the way.
Big Al, that one I did know. I don't. You've been hitting me with some that I didn't know, but I did know Big Al. But all right, so Eric, Big Ten, I did all 18 because both of our teams are in there. I have some Penn State listeners here, so I went. So I'll go in order, and you can jump in. I'll stop after I'll do 6.
That's fine. Just go.
Okay, so at number 18 is Oregon. Eric, I hate that fucking duck almost as much as I hate the leprechaun at Notre Dame, who we're not even going to talk about.
And he's on a lot of lists at the top.
Well, because he's fun. Does Oregon have a lot of ducks out there? I've never been to Oregon. I don't know. I hate that duck.
That's your USC bias coming through.
It may be. It may be. I have Indiana 17 because I really don't know what the hell a Hoosier is, to be honest. Northwestern 16, it's kind of boring. A Northwestern Wildcats.
Yeah.
15, I have Illinois, the Fighting Illini. Chief, he has a name too. Chief. Well, maybe it is Illini. Chief Illini.
Yeah.
Michigan State Spartans at 14 and Iowa Hawkeyes at 13. Those were my bottom 6.
You put Sparty down that low. Wow.
You like Sparty?
Well, he's not. He's not at the bottom of the list, I don't think.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Again, I go back to basketball and I just Sparty and stuff like that.
Well, true. Now my next 6, my middle 6. Number 12 is Michigan because as much as I like their helmets, because they're an iconic helmet, a Wolverine is kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do they even have a mascot at the stadium? I can't even think if they have anything on the sideline.
I don't know that they do.
I don't think they do.
Now that they got rid of their coach, they might need one. Their coach was kind of,
Well, I was just going to say he was boring, and so that would fit in when he's there. That they wouldn't have a mascot, but
right, he probably forget it wasn't fun.
Number 11, I have Nebraska. Although I must admit, I like that guy wears the corn cob head. Yes. And then 10 would be UCLA. There's another one, the little baby Bruin. Sort of UCLA's always been USC's little brother out in California. That seems like a fitting mascot, although it's kind of a cool. Sometimes they bring a live, like a little baby bear out. And then their cartoon mascots, they always have I guess it'd be a mom and a dad, a boy and a girl at the stadium for their games. What was that? 10. Number 9 is Purdue, the Boilermaker. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Rutgers, the Scarlet Knight. He's okay too.
Yeah.
And then number 7 is Washington, beautiful husky. There's one that they usually have a live husky up there.
Yeah, they do.
At the stadium. So that's my middle 6.
All right, those were good. By the way, Nebraska is Herbie Husker.
Herbie Husker.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember
you did your research. I like that.
Herbie Husker.
Herbie Husker. I bet the Bruin has a name too.
Yeah, I don't know that.
UCLA. All right, here's my top 6. Number 6, Maryland. I dig the turtle.
Fear the turtle, baby.
Yep, I fear the turtle. I like the turtle.
Yes, I do too.
Bucky Badger. There's a name I remembered. Wisconsin, Bucky Badger at number 5.
Yep.
Number 4, I like this mascot. The team usually stinks, but the Gopher at Minnesota.
Goldie Gopher.
Goldie. I was waiting. I knew you had a name for me.
Goldie Gopher.
Goldie Gopher. I have them 4. And then now mine is biased, and I'm sure yours was biased the other way.
Yeah.
I have the Nittany Lion at number 3.
All right.
Brutus Buckeye. As much as I hate Ohio State,
I know.
I mean, they made it. It's a nut, and they made a head out of it. I like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Tommy Trojan on his horse, preferably, but number 1, the USC Trojans.
Does the horse travel to the East Coast?
They do not take. I'm trying to think if they've even taken the horse. I'm trying to think back when they were in the Orange Bowl with Pete Carroll, and then the national championship game. I want to say no, Eric, on traveling. I know he doesn't travel during regular season games.
Right.
Now they always take the band. Usually it's I think it's juniors and seniors go on road trips, and then they pick one game each year to take the full band to. Because I know you went to that game against Virginia Tech that year.
Yeah.
In Washington. And that they took the full band to that one. That was their full band trip that year. But I don't think the horse travels. even though his name is Travis.
I'm anxious to see if coming to the East Coast affects bringing juniors and seniors into band for a week or two at a time.
Well, I think they'll take them.
Just fly them in and out, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think. It'll be interesting to see the schedule. Will they put? And I don't have it in front of me. I don't know if USC will play back-to-back games on the East Coast. I doubt it. Same way with Penn State. I doubt that they would roll Penn State out there 2 weeks in a row.
You wouldn't think, but
Yeah. So that's a good question. I don't know. I assume they're going to try and take their travel ban.
I would think so.
But because they always have. That'd be a great trivia question. The last time USC didn't have their ban at a game. What was your mascot list?
It's now a big expense to schools to bring everyone across the country. That I'm sure that's an afterthought, but
no, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And some teams don't. I mean, you know that you watch games. I mean, some teams don't take their ban.
Right.
I know you, and I don't know if the blue band is the same way. I think it is. I know the football program has always thought of the band as almost an extension of their program.
Yeah.
And I think they want them there at those games. So,
and the fans certainly, when they travel, they want them there.
Absolutely.
They stand out in the parking lot listening to them before the game and things like that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. So, did you have any complaints with my order? What I assume you had the Nittany Lion first.
Well, I did, but and I agree with you on Brutus Buckeye, but I refuse to talk about the Ohio State. So,
and I think the Nittany Lion, the kids they get to play the Nittany Lion are really good.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Yeah. So,
both physically. Well, they do the push-ups. And a lot of the mascots do the push-ups. That damn duck does the push-ups too. But the Nittany Lion's really good interacting with the kids and stuff too.
Yeah,
they do a good job with that. So anyway, that part of the fun of college football, the mascots, and I suppose we can argue that now that we're in different conferences, that you'll get a closer look at some of the bands and the mascots and the whatevers that go with those teams. So try to look on the bright side of all this nonsense.
I guess there's got to be some. Yeah.
All right. So Eric, we can sit here if you want to for the next 5 minutes and hash out whether Brandon Ayuk will come to the Steelers. Off air, we agree that he's going to be in San Francisco. So there's really no NFL news right now. Although July 4th, we're probably only about 3 weeks away from them heading to camp.
We're getting there, yeah.
So it's flying around again.
And there are still first-round picks unsigned.
Yeah.
I mean, your boy isn't signed yet in Chicago, is he?
I don't know. I think once, and maybe they're waiting on. Isn't the NFL set up that like Caleb Williams is going to get between here and here?
I think.
Then the rest side, isn't it tiered like that?
I think they're all slotted in. Event, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if some of those teams are waiting or to see the guys ahead of it. I don't know.
I don't know how they work the guaranteed money. If it's they want more. I don't know how that works either. So.
When we do I was going to discuss that today, but I thought we'll save it for when we do our NFC preview. But I think the Bears are going to be intriguing this year with him.
Yeah.
Because unlike Bryce Young in Carolina, they've given Caleb Williams some tools to work with around him, receivers. And, I didn't even know that. DeAndre Swift is their running back. So they have some good players surrounding him.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. He's going to have some great games and some bad ones, but it's going to be exciting, I think. I'm anxious. I don't know how well he does out in the frigid cold of Chicago and some of these games late in the year, but that's anyone who plays quarterback,
Yeah, and he grew up in the DC area.
So
all right. So I haven't done a podcast where we talk about movies since back when I did it with Jed, and Jed and I never agreed on any of these. And much like you were teasing me about winning stuffed animals in crane games, as I look at my list, I think I tend to think that silly movies end up higher on my list than than the serious ones.
Yes.
But our 10, each of us, 10 best football movies of all time. I'll start at number 10, and then we'll kind of alternate. At number 10, I have We Are Marshall. I want to say that with Matthew McConaughey, I think, played in that.
Yes.
Now, that's a serious one. That was, the unfortunate plane crash wiped out most of the kids on the team and coaches, and that was the build-up, the build-back, and that was their mantra, We Are Marshall, and got that program back up and running a lot faster than anyone thought. There were some that thought they would never have a football program again. So that is my number 10 football movie.
I had mine that higher for me. I had him, I think that was number 4 for me because I really enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
And as you know, I'm not a big movie guy, so I don't go to,
well, I know.
But that was a good movie and a good football movie.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I know. I was a little worried to do this with you because I know you kind of phased out of movies, but number 9, I have Invincible. That was that Marky Mark? I think the Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg, Vince something was a bartender or whatever.
Yeah, in
Philly, and went to a tryout or whatever.
Yeah,
and ends up getting a spot on the Eagles roster that year, and I really enjoyed that movie. That has a little bit of football. It's part serious, part fun, a little bit of a love story too, because there was a chick involved with him. But I had that at number 9, Invincible.
All right, that's a good one. My next one would be, I put this in. It's Rudy.
Oh God, Eric.
Now, I didn't particularly I don't like the story because if you find out things later.
Yeah.
But at the time I watched it, which for me is a good thing because I don't watch a lot of movies, so I made it through. But it's at the bottom of the list, and only because, quite honestly, I don't know a lot of football movies. So this was one I knew, and it's at the bottom of the list.
Okay. I refuse to put Notre Dame movies on here.
I know. Yes.
But a lot of people love it. The whole story of, the underdog story. But honestly, Eric, I never watched it. And that's probably because of the whole Notre Dame thing.
Yes.
All right, number 8. You want to talk about silly movies? This would be right up there at the top. Necessary Roughness. That'd be Scott Bakula, who was an older guy that came back to school, had been a quarterback, and this team was Texas State had been put on probation, and they're picking up people off the street to play, and they call him in because he had been a good quarterback when he was younger.
Yep.
Sinbad was in that movie. I think any movie that has Sinbad in it's probably quality stuff. And Kathy Ireland, always, you can't go wrong putting her in a movie.
Correct.
And she was the kicker.
Yes.
On the team. So I had that at number 8.
It made my list.
Excellent.
Yes, it made my list. So yeah.
Excellent.
All right, so now I'm going to go back to our younger days with The Longest Yard.
Yeah, you got to go the original.
The original.
Yep, I have that at number 5.
All right, the original. And, back, man, how old were we back? This was in the 70s, I believe.
That was in the 70s, yeah.
In the mid-70s, probably.
Yes.
But, it was, the Burt Reynolds, the convicts, and,
yeah.
At the time, for me, it was a good movie.
First of all, Burt Reynolds was the all-time cool guy.
Yes,
all-time cool guy.
Yeah.
The best line, I think I broke his freaking neck. Yeah, that is. I like the Adam Sandler version. It was okay, but it didn't hold up to the
No,
original version.
correct.
Yeah, with Burt Reynolds. Yeah, excellent choice. Excellent choice. This next one, believe it or not, Jed wouldn't believe me if he heard this. I almost didn't put this on, and I slid it in at number 7. The Water Boy, Adam Sandler. Almost, and I would never watch it now. 20 years ago, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I thought everything Adam Sandler did was hilarious.
Right.
Now, I will tell you, probably at some point this summer, I will watch Billy Madison because I still think that's funny.
Okay.
But I look at this movie today and I'm like, oh boy, that's maybe a little too far out there. The Fonz was in it. He was the coach, Henry Winkler. But all-time goofy movie.
It's on my list. It has to be on your top 10 list. I'm sorry, it has to be.
Okay.
I mean, look, it's not winning any Academy Awards, but Adam Sandler movies aren't. You watch it,
To laugh.
This was one of his earlier movies too, I believe.
Yep.
So, but just down south humor and stuff like that.
It was, yeah. It was kind of a takeoff on Alabama, I think, to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Yeah.
What do I got here? Any Given Sunday.
Had it on and I crossed it off because I decided to go with We Are Marshall instead.
Oh, okay. So
Al Pacino, right?
Correct. Al Pacino. He was the coach. I believe. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. So
yeah, I know. I can't remember who was LL Cool J in that.
Yeah, he might have been.
I think he was in that.
Was this?
I can't remember, but
Keanu Reeves or no?
No, I don't think he was in that.
He was another. Yeah. But anyway, it's on my list.
Yeah, it was. That was. What was it? They were there because people got shot. Like there was.
Yeah, I mean, football was, I guess, not secondary, but it was. About.
Wasn't there an assassination attempt or something at the Super Bowl or at the football? Okay. Yeah, I liked it, and I bumped it at the last minute for We Are Marshall.
All right.
Now this one is, well, I'll do a serious one next because I moved one of them up. So Longest Yard was my number 5. So number 6. I'm sorry, number 5 is Brian's Song.
Yeah.
Really a neat movie, and this is back in I think it was made in the 70s too, wasn't it? Or maybe
it had to be early 70s too.
Yeah.
I can't tell you I remember a lot about it. It's on my list just because of what it's about. But yeah, it was it was just a tearjerker, but it was a real story.
It was a tearjerker, yeah, for sure. But
it was real.
It was real, and I think it has to be on the list.
Yeah.
Just the importance of it and all that and stuff. So yeah, that was my number 5. All
right. Where am I at here? Friday Night Lights. Now
I didn't put it on, Eric. You're not going to believe it. I may be the only male football fan in America I've never watched the movie. I saw the show.
Okay.
But I didn't watch the movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I did have to put it on my list just because, honestly, I ran out of movies.
Well, Eric, it deserves to be on the list. I didn't put it on because I didn't feel right putting it on because I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it, so there you go.
But I've never heard a bad thing about it.
Right.
So, all right, my number 4 is The Program. This is going back probably between 85 and 90. I want to say like 86 or 87.
James Caan.
What's that?
James Caan.
James Caan was the coach.
Yeah.
I can picture the actor that played the quarterback, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But it was a great. Now, if you had a Florida State fan, they didn't like the movie because it was a clear takeoff on Florida State, and the players were shooting up steroids.
Yeah.
They weren't going to class. The one kid couldn't read. I really liked it. Of course, the quarterback, there was a girl involved that liked them and all that stuff. And I think the football stuff was pretty realistic in that one.
Yeah, I had that's a good one, and it showed, the running. I forget the player, it may have been a linebacker, but when he got hurt with his knee injury, they just pushed him aside, and hey, we're moving on. See you later.
Yep, forget about him.
That's kind of what happens, I think.
Especially back then, it did.
Yeah.
But it was a clear.
Yes.
Well, here's Florida State in real life, and here's the team in the movie.
Right.
And it was very similar.
And that was the reputation of Florida State back then.
Yep, exactly. But I like the movie a lot.
Yeah. So let's see. I am running out of. I have maybe just one more left.
Okay, I got you covered, Eric. On these, I got 3 more.
Remember the Titans.
I didn't put that in either because I didn't watch that. That was Denzel.
Yes.
From what I'm told, great movie.
It was. Again, I'm not going to be able to tell you a lot because it's been a while. But yes, it was. I watch it sometimes, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie. Yes.
Yeah.
A good team movie for the team, and yeah.
I've heard that, Eric, that a lot of football coaches will make their players as a team watch that movie.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, but I don't know why I never saw that movie because I kind of like Denzel. But all right, so I've got 3 left. At number 3, All the Right Moves. Tom Cruise, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I believe they shot it in Pittsburgh, or at least a lot of it in Pittsburgh. He was a kid, getting recruited by USC, as a matter of fact, was one of the main schools recruiting him. I know Tom Cruise tends to be maybe a tad goofy in real life with the Scientology stuff or whatever, but I got to admit, I love him in damn near everything he does as far as movies go.
And this was early Tom Cruise.
What's that?
So this was early Tom Cruise before he became.
This was young.
I forgot. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that movie, and I forgot about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I haven't seen it for a while, but anytime I flip the dial and if I see it's on, I would watch it. But
and it showed that if the coach, kind of can control your future.
It's correct. Yeah, because he was kind of holding things over his head and all that kind of stuff.
Craig T. Nelson. Yes,
Craig T. Thank you.
See?
Another guy I loved went on to do the Coach show.
Yeah, exactly.
Good call.
You should know. I know these names. Come on.
Yes, Trivial Pursuit. Eric is our Trivial Pursuit. Any kind of TV or movie name you need, you want him on your team for Trivial Pursuit. All right, my number 2 and number 1 are both silly movies, but I laughed my ass off at this next one. Varsity Blues. Too many scenes to even pick one. They go to the strip club and their teacher's one of the strippers. School doesn't really matter. This is, again, Southern humor, as you mentioned with the Water Boy, depicted as football comes first. And the kid that's the backup quarterback ends up, the starter gets hurt, and his future is in doubt now. And the backup, who everyone made fun of, has to step in. The coach didn't like him, who was John Voight, who, from what I hear, is crazy in real life and was crazy in this movie. Remember the scene where the kid, I think it was the running back, he's like, "Shoot him up, Doc, shoot him up," in the locker room. And that's when the kids all the players stepped in. They're like, "No." And they made him leave. And then they went out and won the game without a coach.
Yeah.
A little bit far-fetched, but
good movie.
Fantastic movie. Like you said, not going to win an Academy Award, but good entertainment. And I am partial to this, and I can't tell you why specifically, but my number 1 football movie is The Replacements. And that was going to be one of my trivia questions. Do you remember the guy that played the quarterback on the Washington team, and what was his name in the movie? You mentioned him earlier in this podcast.
Really?
And you said, oh, no, he was in a different one.
Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves was the quarterback.
Okay.
His name in the movie, Shane Falco.
Oh,
great name, Shane Falco. It's during the NFL strike, and so they are replacement players. That's the name of the movie. And Gene Hackman, who I love in everything he does, and he was the head coach. And of course, the regular players hated the replacement players, and they were trying to make it rough. And they had a guy that got out of prison, and then they had a prison guard, which was Jon Favreau in his earlier days. They had a British kicker who had gambling debts, and the bookies were up in the stands, and he knew they were gonna, if he made a field goal, they were gonna take him out. So he told Shane that he had to miss, and so Shane said, "I got you." And they ended up going for it. Of course, they win the game. He falls in love with the cheerleader, and they had replacement cheerleaders as well. It's an absolutely idiotic movie, but I love it.
Well, there you go.
So, have you seen that one?
You like it, it doesn't matter.
Have you watched that one?
I have not. I hate to say it, I have not seen that movie.
Well, you don't have to. Jed hated when I said that was my number one movie because he thought it was idiotic, and he's right. It was idiotic, but it was one of those ones, and they play the cool music as they're going, for the touchdown to win the game, and the happy ending and all that stuff. So, a lot of great sports movies in general. I think I'm going to talk about baseball movies on my Musings podcast. Those of you that listen to that one. So my trivia question to end the podcast, Eric, is not just football. Which actor has appeared in the most sports movies? Still alive, still acting.
Still alive and still acting. Still alive and still acting. Wow.
I'll give you a minute, and then I'm going to give you a hint.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to get this. I might need the hint. Yeah, still acting.
Here we go. Ready?
All right.
Give me a ball. Hits it in the water. Give me another ball.
Oh, Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. Yeah.
Wow.
Those of you that don't know what I'm doing because I'm a terrible actor, that's Tin Cup.
Tin Cup,
the golf movie. Yeah, Kevin Costner, just off the top of my head, and I don't have a list in front of me, but football movies, he did Draft Day, where he was the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. He, of course, did maybe his most famous sports movie was Bull Durham. He did For Love of the Game, where he was an aging pitcher. I loved him in that. Tin Cup. He was in a couple bicycle movies, of all things.
Wow.
So he's done the most sports movies of any actor. And I think he's good in all of them.
Yeah.
I think Costner's really good. But
was he Field of Dreams?
Thank you. How did I miss that one? Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah, Field of Dreams, absolutely. He's a big baseball fan. I've heard him in interviews. He likes doing baseball stuff.
But Tin Cup is the best.
Tin Cup's fantastic.
Yeah.
What,
Talk about a dumb, stupid movie, but I could watch that again.
I could watch that all night long. Rene Russo.
Yeah.
My God, Ken Venturi up in the booth.
Yes.
For that movie.
Gary McCord made an appearance.
Gary McCord met back when CBS allowed him to be on the air.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic movie. So, all right, man. So get your notes ready for announcers then and now. And about the only thing we haven't done in college is our fight songs, our favorite fight songs. Maybe we'll do that next week too. And then, Eric, in 2 weeks on the 18th, we'll start doing previews. I think we're going to start with the Big 12. Maybe you and I can figure out who's in that conference by then.
Hopefully. I'll need a couple weeks to get that done.
Exactly. So, but anyway, so announcers next week, maybe fight songs. And then Fanatics will be and we're going to get Scott back in here when we start previewing. So the three of us will start previewing these conferences, and then we'll get to the NFL. I think our buddy Dave Parkin's going to come in for some of the NFL stuff too. So we'll really be able to kick it around then here in a couple of weeks. So,
sounds all right. Good.
Yep. Until next week's Fanatics, you know the drill. Be nice to one another.